The Nine Realms are nine separate worlds that were once all united by Asgard, and as such, they're ultimately overseen by this central realm, though some are independent or hostile to Asgard. Asgard's conquests throughout the Nine Realms are seen as a significant feat. So far, we have Midgard, also known as Earth, Muspelheim, Vanaheim, Alfheim, Svartalfheim, Nidavellir, Niflheim, Jotunheim, and finally we have Asgard. So, why are they all referred to as a related bundle of worlds? Because they really are. Each realm is connected by the pathways of the life tree, which is known in mythology as Yggdrasil. It was once believed that these realms were always at odds with each other, and an exceptionally powerful force was the ancient Dark Elves, who sought to shroud everything in darkness. Asgard itself is a bountiful land. It's one of the most advanced ones in the Nine Realms, but only its capital is heavily populated.
And then, with a mighty bellow,
The realm enjoys an eternal spring, incredible harvests, lush, green environments, and the capital itself is a golden city. The layout of the realm is pretty strange. On one side, you have Asgard, but on the other, you have a cold, icy, mountainous region that's barely ever visited by anyone. Asgard's might was built on a history of war, something Hela points out repeatedly.
You never knew him. Not at his best. Odin and I drowned entire civilizations in blood and tears. Where do you think all this gold came from?
Their history with military campaigns goes back to the time of Bor, the father of Odin. He was the one who stopped Malekith when he tried to use the ether, channeling it through the convergence during the first conflict with the elves. Under King Bor, the Asgardians went to battle against the Dark Elves and their elite warriors, the Cursed. It was a pretty bloody battle with many losses on both sides. Eventually, Odin would succeed his father, and during his rule, he started his own military conquests with his daughter Hela. Together, the father-daughter duo defeated massive threats within the realms, such as the fire demon Surtur on Muspelheim. They even went head-on against the Jotunheim frost giants, and these guys loved collecting their souvenirs.
Humanity would not face this threat alone.
From Muspelheim, Odin took Surtur's eternal flame, which is what we see in the vault here during Ragnarok. From the giants, they took the Casket of Winters, which triggers the infamous Fimbulwinter, an endless ice age. As you can see, Odin loves crippling his enemies. Resistance is discouraged. Eventually, Odin realized that constant war is horrible.
Then, one day he decided to become a benevolent king. To foster peace, to protect life.
However, the path to peace wouldn't be so easy. Odin made a lot of enemies in his lifetime after all. One of those foes was Surtur, who would wait for many years to get his revenge on Asgard, and eventually, he succeeded. The prophecy of Ragnarok had foretold that he would bring about Asgard's destruction, something we finally see him doing in Thor Ragnarok. After the destruction of Asgard, the Asgardians who survived relocated to Norway on Earth and set up New Asgard.
Golden palaces and the magic hammers and whatnot.
Hey, have a little compassion, pal. First they lost that.
Midgard. Midgard, better known as Earth, is the grand stage where most of the biggest stories of the MCU have happened. It gets the most action in the solar system because everything, from robots, outer gods, aliens, even higher cosmic beings like Celestials, ends up here. It started with Nick Fury recruiting Iron Man for the Avengers Initiative.
Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
And ever since then, it's just been a roller coaster of world or universe-shaping events. Whether it's Loki bringing an entire Chitauri alien army to invade Earth, a robot takeover in the form of Ultron destroying the country of Sokovia, or Dormammu literally trying to merge the planet with the Dark Dimension, it seems like Earth's stuck in infinite crisis mode. Through all of this, Earth isn't as vulnerable as you think. It's stacked with some of the mightiest warriors in the entire MCU, including the legendary Avengers, made up of super soldiers, geniuses, enhanced humans, the Hulk, and an Asgardian god. Backing them up are major players like S.H.I.E.L.D., led by Nick Fury. Then we have Wakanda, one of the most advanced nations on the planet, with a monopoly on vibranium, one of the best minerals in the MCU. Not just that, there's the Masters of the Mystic Arts, led by Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange. Remember that legendary portal scene from Endgame? Yeah, that was these guys. Earth's always been a galactic hotspot for another reason. It's housed several Infinity Stones at one point or another. And of course, with legendary items come equally horrible threats, such as the Mad Titan Thanos. However, it's because Earth seems to get dragged into these universal conflicts that it ends up being the central force saving the universe too. When Thanos wiped out half the universe, it was all of Earth's defenders that ended up reversing the blip and eventually reclaiming the Infinity Stones from Thanos, taking the Titan down in the legendary Battle of Earth. From an Asgardian point of view, Midgard is also very important. Overseen by Heimdall, Earth is one of the realms that Asgard is responsible for. From time to time, Asgardians would visit the realm, and fun fact, this is actually how the Norse mythology was created in the MCU. Muspelheim. After Surtur's initial defeat at the hands of Odin many years ago, he kind of just smoldered away, being eternally pissed off until the time of Ragnarok. The first time we get to explore the realm is when Thor ends up there 2 years after the Battle of Sokovia, imprisoned by Surtur. Surtur has a pretty one-track mind. All he can think about is nuking Asgard, something he very happily tells Thor he is going to do once he can unite his crown with the eternal flame again. This leads to Thor having a pretty intense battle with Surtur and his fire demons. Oh, and there was a dragon too. Pretty much all we know of Muspelheim is what we see here. We know that the environment is incredibly toxic, supposedly even to Asgardians, and that it's the hottest realm out of them all. There seems to be some kind of hierarchy of power, because Surtur is clearly the king on his throne, and the other inhabitants of the realm seem to obey him. But whether this is an official government or just demons being ruled by fear is up to you to guess. Jotunheim? The ice planet of Jotunheim is described as a cold waste by Heimdall.
Asgard by frost will remain closed to you, and you'll be left to die in the cold wastes of Jotunheim.
And its eternal cold is powered by the casket of ancient winters. This realm had been ruled by Loki, who was similar to Odin because he also had his own plans of expansion. During 965 AD, he slaughtered a Viking village on Earth using the Casket of Winters, which is what kicks off the Asgard-Jotunheim War. This was known as the Battle of Tonsberg. Odin ended up driving the frost giants from Tonsberg back to Jotunheim with the help of the Eternals, such as Gilgamesh. The giants attempted a retreat and tried to recover until they could launch a counterattack. Fun fact, Odin even taught Gilgamesh the recipe for an Asgardian brew as a thank you.
Yours is a secret brew. Odin taught me as a thank you after he helped defeat Loki's army in Tonsberg.
Things didn't cool off there, though. Odin launched a counteroffensive on them, leading a massive force of Asgardians against them. This is also the fight where Odin ended up losing his right eye. In the end, after a lot of loss on both sides, Odin was seen standing victorious over Laufey. While he spared his life, in the end, the Asgardians took the Casket of Winters, which is what powered Jotunheim. Without it, the realm was in a state of decay. The giants had reluctantly agreed to a peace treaty, although Laufey never abandoned his plans to take Asgard's place within the 9 realms. In the aftermath, Odin discovered a baby giant who had been abandoned within a temple. His father, Laufey. Odin named the child Loki, the adoptive brother of Thor and a surviving member of Jotun royalty. The peace treaty only lasted around 1,500 years, which isn't a lot for Norse gods. Loki tried to make a deal with Laufey when he visited the realm. As a part of his plan to look like a hero and usurp the throne of Asgard, he helped Laufey sneak into Asgard so he could kill Odin. But just as the Frost King was about to do so, Loki disintegrated him. And tried to destroy Jotunheim by using the full strength of the Bifrost on it, ultimately being stopped when Thor arrived and destroyed the Bifrost. Now, that had long-lasting effects on the 9 realms. Vanaheim. One of the consequences of Thor destroying the Bifrost was that Asgardians, the defenders of the 9 realms, could no longer freely travel. Think about it like this. Why do small-time crooks avoid committing crimes when Spider-Man's around? They'll be there immediately to stop them, that's why. The Asgardians no longer being able to show up wherever trouble was brewing opened the way for bad guys like the Marauders, who raided the realms, causing chaos wherever they went. In particular, they went after Vanaheim. This caused the Asgardians, such as Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, to step in eventually. Someone had to maintain order within the realms, even with the Bifrost gone, and Thor actually went to fight personally.
Anyone else?
There actually isn't much in Vanaheim. It's a realm full of nature and dense, thick forests. The population seems to prefer living in small villages, camps, and settlements instead of big civilizations like Midgard and Asgard. They don't seem to have a lot of technological advancement yet, but we do see them possessing weapons similar to the ones used by Asgardian warriors. Nidavellir. Unlike the other realms, which are proper planets, the home of the Master Dwarves is a neutron star protected by an Alderson disk. The dwarves of this realm were the blacksmiths of the gods and warriors of Asgard themselves, and were renowned throughout the universe as a legend. And for good reason, too. These dwarves made some of the coolest weaponry to ever come out of the MCU. Mjolnir, Odin's spear Gungnir, the Infinity Gauntlet, Ymir's axe, and Thanos' sword. While we don't see the process behind all of them, we do get to see Stormbreaker being made, and the process was incredibly difficult. These weapons are all made of Uru, a metal that is so strong it can only be melted down with the heat and power of a star. The dwarves use the power of the blazing neutron star around them to forge their legendary weaponry within the Golden Forge, which is something only they know how to do. Their knowledge and skill as blacksmiths have made them not only respected, but also feared throughout the universe, even by Thanos. Around 300 dwarves were confirmed to live on Nidavellir before Thanos' visit in 2015. This was when he asked them to make the Infinity Gauntlet for him, and when they did, he massacred them all so their knowledge could die with them. The only survivor was the Dwarf King, Eitri.
300 dwarves lived on this ring. And he killed everyone anyway. All except me.
And the Golden Forge was frozen shut. This is how Nidavellir would remain until 3 years later. You might be wondering how Thanos even invaded without any resistance. See, Loki isn't known as a trickster god for nothing. He had put Odin under a spell and forced him to live on Earth while he impersonated the Allfather. While Loki had the look and beard down, he was a horrible ruler because, as Thor says, the 9 realms were in complete and utter chaos. Still, it's not like Asgard could have stopped Thanos even if they tried. Thor, Groot, and Rocket came to the now barren world to forge the Stormbreaker 3 years after the massacre. Here, they had to reactivate the Cold Star and forge to do so, marking the first time in ages that a dwarven weapon had been forged. Niflheim. Niflheim is a cold, lonely land that houses Hell. It's a realm characterized by its dense, eerie fog and barren mountain landscapes. It's basically the Norse equivalent of the underworld, and it's where the souls of the beings in the 9 realms go after they die. While those who die in battle with honor go to Valhalla, and the ones who die dishonorable deaths end up in another region of Niflheim, the ones who are neither dishonored nor honored end up in Hell. Millennia ago, Odin, the king of Asgard, banished his daughter Hela to Hell. Hela had grown too powerful and too ambitious, plotting to conquer all 9 realms, and Odin saw her as a threat that could no longer be controlled.
Violent appetites grew beyond my control. Couldn't stop it, so I imprisoned her, locked her away.
Hela didn't accept her imprisonment quietly. She attempted to break free, which forced Odin to take extreme action. He sent the Valkyries, an elite group of female Asgardian warriors, to stop her. The battle ended in disaster. Hela slaughtered nearly every Valkyrie sent against her, leaving only their leader Brunhilde alive. In response, Odin bound her imprisonment to his own life force, sealing her away through powerful magic rather than physical confinement. As long as Odin lived, the enchantment held. Hela remained trapped in Hell for thousands of years, unable to return to the 9 realms. When Odin finally died, the magic sustaining her prison collapsed instantly. With the life force anchoring her imprisonment gone, Hela was freed and returned to Asgard to claim what she believed was rightfully hers. Alfheim. This is easily the most mysterious of all the 9 realms. While the others have all been shown in some capacity, we haven't seen anything from Alfheim at all. We don't know how it looks or what the ruling structure is like, or anything about it really. All we know is that it is the home of the Light Elves, who are the opposite of the Dark Elves of Svartalfheim. Svartalfheim. Svartalfheim is one of the 9 realms and is home to the Dark Elves. Most of the 9 realms, including Asgard, refer to it as the Dark World, while the Dark Elves themselves call it Harudin. The realm exists in a star system heavily corroded by dark matter, which has shaped both the planet and its inhabitants. Almost no natural light reaches the surface. The only visible light source comes from a nearby black hole. Centuries ago, Svartalfheim became the site of a massive war. An Asgardian army led by Bor, Odin's father, clashed with the Dark Elves under the command of Malekith. Malekith sought total genocide across the 9 realms, using the ether as his primary weapon. The battle ended in Asgard's favor. The Dark Elves were nearly wiped out, with only Malekith, his lieutenant Algrim, and several dozen soldiers surviving. Rather than continuing the fight, the survivors entered a very long hibernation, waiting for another chance to conquer the universe. In their absence, Svartalfheim became a dead world. The surface was left scattered with the wreckage of Dark Elf ships, which Malekith had deliberately dropped onto both armies during his retreat.
Malekith sacrificed his own people in a desperate attempt to lay waste to Asgard's army.
In 2013, the Dark Elves awakened when Jane Foster accidentally discovered the ether. This brought Malekith back and began the second Dark Elf conflict. Thor had planned to lure them back to Svartalfheim, once again turning it into a battleground. Malekith fought Thor over control of the ether, and during the chaos, Loki staged his own death after battling Algrim. It was after this fake-out that he went back to Asgard and usurped Odin by sending him to Earth. During the Battle of Greenwich, the convergence caused Thor and Malekith to briefly fight on Svartalfheim after being transported there between realms. Later in the battle, Erik Selvig used a device to teleport Malekith back to the Dark World. Moments after his arrival, Malekith was crushed to death when his own spaceship crashed down on top of him. The 9 realms are some of the coolest concepts from the comics brought to life by the MCU, and we're only missing Alfheim. Let's hope we get to explore it one day completely, but until then, if you want to explore more of Marvel's mysteries, Norse, alien, or scientific, you know where to go.